In today's episode, I'm going to be showing you when is the best time to fertilize your citrus. Whether you have an orange, a lemon, a lime, a grapefruit, it doesn't matter. If it falls under the citrus family, this method is going to work for you, in the ground or in containers. So let's go ahead and get started. So winter's over, spring is here, and a lot of people are asking when is the best time to fertilize your citrus. Why? Because citrus are very popular. Most people want to grow an orange, a lemon, and they're wondering right now, when is the best time to fertilize them? Is there a specific time that you need to fertilize your trees to get the best production? Well, I'll be honest with you, there's really no specific time to fertilize your trees, but I can show you specifically what to look for to know when is the best time to fertilize your tree in your yard, because every state is going to be different depending on the ambient temperatures around your plant. Now, let me show you something real quick. You see all this new growth right here popping up everywhere? All the citrus that we have right now are pushing new growth. Every single one. No exception. All of them. And I haven't done anything special. I neglected these guys last year. But right now, they are reacting to the ambient temperature around the trees. And that is when is the best time to fertilize your citrus. Just wait until they actually are pushing new growth. Just like this. Once you see your plant pushing new growth, that is the best time to actually start fertilizing your trees. It's simple as that. Now let's say that you are well into the growing season. You just got your tree from the nursery. Well, if that's the case for you, then you probably don't need to do anything. Because the nursery you bought it from most likely already fertilized the tree for you and you don't have to do anything. The main misconception people have about citrus plants in general is you need to fertilize them to get tons of fruits. I'll be honest with you, watering is going to be a lot more important than fertilization. But in today's episode, we are talking about fertilizing your trees. And as you can see, a lot of my trees are actually starting to flower. Because usually, when they start to flower, also they will start to grow. But once they actually set the fruit, you will notice a lot of the new growth will stop. This is normal for citrus. So now you know when is the best time to fertilize your citrus. When they actually are starting to grow. If you're fertilizing any other time of the year, especially during the winter time, you are just wasting fertilizer. So what kind of fertilizer do we use here at the nursery? We keep it simple. And if something works, why change it, right? So this is the fertilizer that we use on all our citrus plants. We use it on citrus plants, house plants, all fruit trees, everything out there gets this fertilizer. Now, is this fertilizer some sort of magic juice? No, it's not. It's just something that I can buy locally. It's not that expensive, but the main feature I like about this fertilizer is, let me show you. So once you are ready to fertilize your trees, because your trees are actually starting to grow, well, the way you're gonna fertilizing is, you're gonna get your fertilizer, like this one. And this one specifically actually comes with a little scoop. So it makes it even easier for you to measure. Now, most of the containers that we have here at the nursery are either 5 or 3 gallons. If yours is anything in between, just eyeball it. But the main thing I like about this fertilizer is it has all the nutrients, it has all the micronutrients that all my plants need. But besides that, it's super easy to do. For a 5-gallon or 3-gallon container, all I do, it's about, I would say, 1/4 to 1/2 a scoop. Just spread it around and you are good to go. Super simple to do. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm fertilizing all the citrus. Just about 1/2 a scoop. And that's it. It's super simple to do. But the main feature I like about this fertilizer, besides being very simple to put on your trees, is it's a slow release fertilizer. Once you put the pellets in there, what's actually going to happen is every time you water, The pellets will release a little bit of the fertilizer into the potting mix, feeding your plant at the same time. And if you didn't know, your plants sweat for the same reasons you do. So the hotter the environment around the plant, the more they are going to be sweating. The faster the potting mix will dry out. And guess what? The more often you are going to need to water. So as the temperatures increase, your plants are gonna grow, and this fertilizer will get released faster into the potting mix because obviously you're watering more often. Now, one thing I want to mention is your plants are not really eating more, guys. You're watering more. And you have to understand how plants actually eat. Plants need water in order to be able to eat, because whatever mixes with water and touches the root system of your plant, then your plant is going to be able to eat those nutrients. If there's no water, even if you fertilize all day long, your plants are not going to be able to eat that fertilizer. But as the temperatures increase, you're going to be watering more often. So I would say most of the fertilizer that you're actually putting into the potting mix is getting flushed down the bottom of the container, because your plant doesn't even have enough time to eat that food. So it's not because your plant it's a heavy feeder like a lot of people will tell you. It's simply because you're watering more often, so you're actually leaching all the nutrients away from the potting mix. Super simple, and if you use a little bit of common sense, you are going to go a long ways in gardening. It's really not that complicated. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm fertilizing all the oranges. I got kumquats. For oranges right now, I have Caracara oranges. I also have Arizona sweet oranges. I got blood oranges. What else I'm fertilizing today? I'm fertilizing the kumquats. Right now we have Nagami kumquats. We have Miwa kumquats. We have Fukushu kumquats, which is one of the most popular varieties that we sell here at the nursery. And what else I have? Let's walk this way and I'll show you what else we got. This little section right here, we have some of the smaller citrus in tree pots that we actually have growing. And obviously these guys are a lot cheaper. So here we have some Oro Blanco grapefruits that I'm fertilizing. We have some Kaffir limes. These are extremely popular because the leaves are very useful. And then we also have some Bear's limes. These are one of the bigger ones if you guys like bigger limes compared to the key limes. We have some Eureka lemons too that we're fertilizing. As you guys can see, we already put the fertilizer in there. Now this one right here is one of my favorites. This is our Buddha's hand. Well, I guess lemons. You call them lemons? Not really edible, but more actually useful for other things like making cleaners and then all kinds of stuff. Over here we have some calamanding. These guys are extremely popular because most of the nurseries in my area don't carry them. And then this little section over here, we got some grapefruits, some ruby red grapefruits. I have some more kumquats, Meyer lemons. As you guys can see, everything is fruiting. Now these are late bloomers. Citrus fruit season was probably about a month ago, but whatever you see right now are just the flowers that bloomed late last year. We got some more kumquats right here, and back here you guys can see we have a lot of the Eureka lemons getting ready to flower. And since everything is starting to grow, well, you gotta fertilize it. And when you have a lot of containers, and I've been doing this for a long time, I can just get a handful and just throw it in the containers. Especially when you have a few hundred to do, guys. It gets very tedious and it takes a long time. But that's the main thing that I like about the slow release fertilizer. It's extremely hard to overdo it. And the reason you burn your plants is because most other fertilizers out there are not a slow release. So when you do fertilize your plants do not know when to stop eating. And unlike us, plants do not get fat. They burn because they eat until their cells literally blow up because they ate so much. In nature, a lot of food is not normal. So plants are not adapted to eating a lot of food. So this is why when you over fertilize them, they burn. A lot of your leaves will burn because too much food. But yeah, that's what I like, guys. Super easy to do. Now, let's say your tree is in the ground. Do you still use synthetic fertilizer to fertilize your tree? No, we do not, guys. Everything in the ground we go organic simply because it's just a lot cheaper. We don't really do a lot of organic fertilization in containers because, well, we have thousands of plants. And if you ever try fertilizing plants in containers organically, it just takes a very long time. And you got to do it a lot more often. And at the end of the day, the basic elements are the same, whether they come from organic sources or synthetic. Anyways, that's a different topic for another video. So let's say your tree is in the ground like this blood orange right here. So how are you going to fertilize it if you're not going to use synthetic fertilizer? So it's even easier than in containers. So right here, I got some compost. Black stuff, it's wet. And then over here, I have some mulch. Now, what you're gonna do is you're just gonna throw the compost all the way around the canopy of your tree. Just throw it in there. Nothing fancy. You don't have to till it into the ground, and I'll tell you why in just a few minutes. But yeah, just throw it around the canopy just like that. Super easy to do. All the way around just like that. How much? Just eyeball it. You know, it doesn't really matter. The good thing about organic fertilizers is extremely hard to over fertilize your plants. It's just not going to happen. You know why? Because right now I'm not feeding my plant directly. What I'm actually doing is I'm feeding the living organisms in the soil, such as the crickets, the roaches, the ants, all the little critters in the ground, and then they are the ones that are actually going to be eating this stuff right here. They eat that up, then they poop. When they break it down even farther, then guess what? The bacteria, the fungus, and all those microorganisms are actually gonna eat that. Then when they poop, now your plant is gonna eat. So whatever they poop, small enough, when mixed with water, then your plant will be able to eat that stuff. That process takes a long time. It takes months. So what I'm doing right now is just not really doing much for the plant, except for whatever it's already fully broken down in here. When mixed with water and it touches the root system of your plant, then your plant's gonna be able to eat it. But that's it. I mean, super easy to do. And like I said, you can go ahead and do this. Normally we only do this once a year for our plants in the ground, because plants in the ground, as you start watering the area, even if you don't fertilize, even if you don't do anything, as long as there's water in the soil, life will be there. And that life in that soil is what's going to be feeding your plant. So once you put your trees in the ground, it's a lot easier. So no need to till it in the ground, because remember, your plant's not eating this stuff directly. It's the bugs that's eating it. Now, do you put mulch in there? I know a lot of you guys are heavy when it comes to mulching. And there are two ways to do this. If the area is shaded, like this one right here, like the compost is not gonna get direct sunlight. To be honest, if you're lazy like I am, you don't need to do anything. Now, if the area where you put the mulch is gonna get hit by direct sunlight, then what you can do is you can go ahead and mulch the area all the way around the canopy of your tree. And what you're actually doing is, no, you're not cooling the ground. No, the plant's not gonna grow better because the soil's cooler in the summer. It's actually the other way around. The hotter the temperature in the soil, the faster the root system of your plant's gonna grow. What we're actually doing right now is you are going to keep the first few inches of the soil moist, because if that compost goes dry, it just, there's no life in it. It's not gonna get broken down. You need water in order for that process to kickstart. So all the living organisms in the soil, they need water. So if the sun hits that directly, it's going to evaporate the water, and it's going to be harder for that stuff to be broken down. So this is the main reason why mulching will help your plant eventually. Now, if you know, is it gonna hurt anything if it doesn't really need it? No, it's not. So even if it's in the shade and you feel like mulching, go ahead and do it. It's not gonna hurt anything, because this stuff right here, I'm using pine needles because I have a lot of pine trees in the ground. It's gonna get broken down eventually, so it's gonna feed your plant eventually too, like in a few years. But that's the main reason why, and the number one benefit of mulching your plant is to keep the surface of the soil moist. The mulch is not going to water your plant. Okay, so that's the main misconception people make, and that's how most plants die the first summer in the ground, because people soak everything and they think the mulch is going to water your plant. It's just not going to do it. Anyways, this is how you fertilize your tree in the ground. For a smaller one, that is. Now let's look at a bigger one. Alright, so once your trees are big like this, I mean, covering the entire area under the canopy with organic material, I mean, it's gonna get expensive. I mean, it will take, I mean, to cover the entire canopy of this tree right here, easily half a yard of material just to cover underneath the canopy. So instead, what I do is, anytime that I have, I mean, cheap stuff, I'm talking about like horse poop, you know, cow poop that is fully decomposed, then, you know, I'm gonna throw that away anyway. So what I do is I just bring it here and I just throw it around here at the edge of the canopy on the surface, and that's all I do for my tangelo tree right here, which is one of the biggest citrus trees that I have. But also, you can see a lot of mulch in there. That's naturally just from the leaves falling down on the ground. But also you can see a lot of the fruits in here. A lot of the fruits are falling, just the wind is knocking them off. But guess what? Look who's eating them. Whatever it's eating the fruits in the ground, well, their bellies are going to be decomposing this stuff in here, and then they're going to be pooping. Now that poop, when mixed with water, if it's small enough, then your plant, the root system of this plant, will be able to eat those nutrients. It's a symbiotic relationship. So once your trees actually get this big, to be honest, you really don't have to do anything as long as you are properly watering your trees. A lot of people get fixated on fertilization, but in reality, as long as you have your watering down, I mean, that's 99% of the work. But you can see the tree is fertilizing itself right now. All these fruits are being eaten by stuff in the ground, and then they eventually are going to feed the plant. Anyways, guys, that is exactly how you fertilize your citrus trees. Super easy to do, very straightforward, and you do not need to buy any specific citrus fertilizers. All that stuff, it's just companies trying to take your money, making you believe that you need something specific in order for your plant to live, thrive, and fruit. But check this out. If it was that complicated, I wouldn't have any trees in the ground, because I don't do any of that stuff. But anyways, guys, if you liked the video, don't forget to like it so it gets recommended to other people, so people can actually see what true gardening is about, which is super easy to do. Anybody can do it. If I did it, anybody can do it. Don't forget to comment below if you have any questions, and as always, I will see you next time.